So all of these questions that I'm actually getting them from, they're actually from the past exam papers. So I've just redesigned the questions so that you guys have different numbers to work with. So the first lot of question, I'll actually do it for you guys, and then I'll show you guys, and I'll give you guys similar questions so you can actually have a go at it, all right? So with the first question here, when they're talking about writing it in positive powers, that means that number there can't be a negative number. And also we are asked to simplify as well. So we're going to have to simplify question B and C. But I'm just going to do question A first. So the first step is this. This -2, the -2 only applies for the 3x. It doesn't apply for the 2 as well, because the 2 has got its own power and it's separate by itself. So that's just going to be 2 by itself. So we're going to rewrite this as 2 over 3x to the power of +2. All right, so anytime you have let's get rid of that. Anytime you actually have a negative power, you bring it to the denominator, change the power, and then just leave it like that. Now we need to actually get rid of the squared. What we have is, remember that 3 has a power of 1 and x has a power of 1. So we're going to rewrite this as 2 to the power of 3 squared and x squared, because the powers get multiplied. And you're going to finish off by saying that this is 2 over 9x squared. So this is the first answer. And this question is worth an achieved. Looking at the second question, we've got 25, which has a power of 1. And because it's powers of powers, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this as 25 to the power of half, because 1 times a half is just half. And then x to the power of 8 times half. Now, let's say you're not comfortable with doing powers, then what you do is just use your calculator. So you can actually go 25 to the power of half, but make sure you put the half in a bracket. All right, because if you don't put it in a bracket, you're going to end up with a completely different answer. And also, we know the square root of 25 is 5. Because look what happens if I do 25 to the power of 1 over 2 without using the brackets. I actually get a completely different answer, which is 12.5. Okay, so that's why the brackets are really important. So in this case, we're going to get an answer of 25 to the power of half is 5, and then x to the power of 8 times half is x to the power of 4. And that's it. We leave it like that. Looking at question C, 9 has a power of 1. So I'm just going to put a little 1 right there. And again, I multiply the powers. So I've got 9 to the power of 3 over 2, x to the power of 6 times 3 over 2, divided by x to the power of 8 times 3 over 2. Now, some of you might have actually done x to the power of 6 over x to the power of 8 as 1 over x squared. That's another way of doing it. These questions, there's like more than one way of doing them. But I'm just going to do this at the moment. And what I've got is 9 to the power of 3 over 2. So I'm going to need my calculator. So again, 9 to the power of 3 over 2. 3 over 2, I'm going to put it in brackets. And so that's equal to 27. And then 6 times 3 is 18 for this part here. 18 over 2 is 9. So that's going to be x to the power of 9. Divided by x to the power of 8 times 3 over 2. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 over 2 is 12. Now, if you do up to here, that's not fully simplified, because we want to get rid of that x. All right, and remember, we've got 9 x's in the numerator, 12 x's in the denominator, so we can rewrite this as 27 x to the power of 3. Is that all right so far? Any questions on that? Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys 3 questions to work on, and then you guys try and do this, and then we'll just, that's literally what we'll do. We'll do 3 questions. I'll put up 3 questions for you guys to try, and then after a couple of minutes, I'll go through the answers so you guys can check it, and then we'll just keep carrying on for this session, all right? All right, so I'll leave those questions up as it is, and I want you guys to try the questions in the green letters there at the bottom. Okay, so have a go. I'll give you guys about a few minutes to try it, and then I'll go through the answers. By the way, if you guys want to know what the grades are for these questions, the first question was an achieved, second question was an achieved, and the third question was actually worth a merit. So it's actually worth 5 points, that question. Feel free to keep working away, but I'll just go through these answers with the second part. So as you guys can see, the -3 is only going to apply for the 2x. So we're going to rewrite this as 4 over 2x to the power of +3. And because x and 2 have the power of 1, we're going to rewrite this as 4 over 2 to the power of 3 and x to the power of 3. And then 2 to the power of 3 is 8. So we're going to get 4 over 8x cubed. All right. So that gets you an achieved grade, as I said to you guys before. As for the next question here, we've got 36x10 to the power of half. So we're going to rewrite this as 36 to the power of half, x to the power of 10 times a half. Now 36 to the power of half is 6, because square root of 36 is 6. And then we've got 10 times a half, which equals to 5. And that's what we should be getting, 6x5. Now, when we get to the last one, we're going to pretty much do the same thing as we did, but I wanted to show you guys, in this one, I wanted to show you guys a different method. So in the previous one, we multiplied the powers with powers, but in this one, I'm actually going to simplify inside first. So I'm going to rewrite this as 8. I've got 7 a's in the numerator, and I've got 2 a's in the denominator, which means 2 of them gets cancelled out, and I can rewrite this as a5. Now, if you don't know how I got that, remember that when we divide index with same powers, we can go 7 minus 2 to the power of 4 over 3. And so this is how it becomes 8a5 to the power of 4 over 3. All right, it just makes it a little bit faster, and then because I've got them as powers of 1 and 5, I'm going to rewrite this as 8 to the power of 1 times 4/3 is just 4/3, and then a to the power of 5 times 4/3. So 8 to the power of 4/3, I'm going to use my calculator for that. Make sure 4/3 is in a bracket, and I've got 16. And then a to the power of 5 times 4/3, that's just going to be 20 over 3. Is that all right there? Okay, so that question was a merit question, and the second question there was an achieved question. You mean the 20 over 3?
No, for A.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. Jeez. How did I miss that? So that wouldn't give you an achieved. You're right. So that actually should be 1 over 2x cubed. That's actually a really good point, guys, because stopping right there wouldn't have given you achieved because we didn't actually simplify fully. We needed to simplify fully to actually get an achieved. Good pick up there. Okay, next couple of questions I'm going to be doing is, let's do these couple of these merit questions, all right? So this is flipping the powers, which happens every now and then. So switching across. Sorry, so all these 3 questions, I think, apart from the first one is worth an achieved. The second one and the third one here are both merits as well. So as usual, what I'll do is I'll show you guys how to do these 3 first, and then I'll give you guys 3 questions so you guys can actually try it out. Okay, but if you want to have a go by yourself, absolutely have a go by yourself, but I will still show you guys how to do this. So one of the things that you can do with when you're dealing with fractions and negative powers is you can get rid of the negative straight away by just flipping the fraction. So I'm going to write this as squared, and I'm going to rewrite this as a to the power of 3 over 4. That's all you have to do to start with, okay? Because then we go back and what we did in the previous questions. So this will become a to the power of 3 times 2. So that's, let me just put that in black. So we're going to get a to the power of 3 times 2 over 4 to the power of, now this is where people make a mistake. They actually put this as 4 times 2, but in reality 4 has a power of 1, which means we're going to get 1 times 2. So that's just going to be 4 squared. So this answer is going to be a to the power of 6 divided by 16. That's what I'm looking for, this particular answer. So same procedure for the next question. For the next question, I'm going to flip the bracket, the fraction, and I'm going to change the power from negative to positive. All right, once we do that, once again, it's just the same procedures. But remember, in this case, we've actually got b's on in the numerator and the denominator. We've got 8 of them in the top, 18 of them in the bottom. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3 over b to the power of 10 squared. You guys okay with that? Once we do that, because this is 3 to the power of 1, we're going to rewrite this as 3 squared over b to the power of 10 times 2, which means we're going to get an answer of 9 over b to the power of 20. Is that right? Or have I made a mistake somewhere? Where's my mistake? Oh, there, a copy error. That shouldn't be 18. That should have been 16. And if that's 16, then that would be 8. That'd be 8 times 2. Is that all right? Is that better? Yeah? Okay, looking at question F, same procedures. But I might actually do all the fractions first before I flip the fraction around. So what I mean by is, like, at the moment, I've got 3 x's in the numerator and 1 x in the denominator, which means this could be written as x squared. As for the y, I've got 1 y in the numerator, 5 y's in the denominator, so that could be written as y to the power of 4. And all of that is to the power of negative half. And now, to get rid of that negative power, flip the fraction. I'm going to get y to the power of 4 over 8 to the power of x squared. Oh, sorry, 8x squared. And then that's to the power of half. So we know that 8 has a power of 1. So what we're going to do is y to the power of 4 times a half over 8 to the power of 1 times a half, x to the power of 2 times half. So 4 times half is just squared. 8 to the power of half, well, it's going to be a decimal number, so I'm just going to leave it as 8 to the power of half. But you can also do this. You can put it as square root of 8 multiplied by x to the power of 2 times half is just x. So that ends up being your final answer. Is that all right? Shall I give you guys 3 questions, similar questions like that, so you guys can have a go by yourself? All right, guys, there's your 3 questions. I'll leave it up there so you guys can actually have a go at it. So again, grades-wise, we're looking at achieved, merit, and merit. So going through these answers at the moment. First step as always, I'm going to rewrite this as a to the power of 4 over 3 to the power of positive 3. And then I've got 4 times 3, which is 12. And then 3 to the power of 3. So this is going to become a to the power of 12. 3 to the power of 3 is 27. I saw a 9 somewhere there. Somebody had a 9. It's very easy. Again, remember, it's not 3 times 3, but it's actually 3 to the power of 3. Second question, I'm going to get rid of the x's inside, which means this will become 4x to the power of 5, because 7 minus 2 is 5. And that's now written as to the power of negative 3. Now, when this happens and you've got nothing in the denominator, if you go back to the very first question that we did today, we just rewrite this as 1 over 4x to the power of 5 to the power of positive 3. All right. So, and then what we have is we've got 4 has got a power of 1. So we're going to rewrite this as 1 over 4 to the power of 1 times 3, which is 3. And then x to the power of 5 times 3, which is 15. And then 4 cubed is 64. So this is going to become 64x to the power of 15. Yeah? Now that's actually worth a merit question again, guys. If you stuff up one of the calculations, you could still potentially get an achieved for it. Like I'll show you guys later on with the second part. Okay? So if you make like a minor error, but you got some of the components that correct, you can still get an achieved for it. And yeah, it really depends on what the exam is like. Last year they had I think last year they had a question like this. 2018, the 2018 version was an achieved question, but 2017 was worth a merit, I think. Anyway, going on to question F. I'm going to get rid of the A first. I've got 7 in the numerator, 3 in the denominator, which means I'm going to rewrite this as a to the power of 4 in the numerator, b to the power of 4 in the denominator, and all of this is to the power of negative quarter. So if I want to change it to positive quarter, I flip the fraction. I got b to the power of 4, 16a to the power of 4 to the power of positive quarter. And then from this point onwards, it's just multiplying the powers. But remember, once again, 16 has a power of 1 there, which means we're going to get b to the power of 4 times a quarter, 16 to the power of 1 times a quarter, and a to the power of 4 times a quarter. And you can kind of see that b, 4 times a quarter is just 1, so that's going to be b. 16 to the power of a quarter, I'm going to go into the calculator to work it out. 16 to the power of a quarter, that's 2. And then a to the power of 4 times a quarter is just 1, so it's just going to become b over 2a. Okay, so grades wise, merit, but you could get an achieved if you get either this or this correct. One of them you've got to get correct for achieved. Any questions? Okay, guys, the next lot of questions we're going to be looking at is logs. Now, this particular formula that I'm going to highlight here, this formula is actually given to you guys in your exams. All right, you get a little formula sheet, and this will be given to you in your exams. So, and the types of questions that pop up, they are literally knowing how to use the calculator to actually get achieved for it. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples quickly. So the first question I'm going to be doing here is, let's see, just pause. So I'm just going to show you guys these first two examples, all right? Because trust me, it's actually really, really easy how you solve these things. All you got to do is this. What I tend to do is, notice how I got this equation right here. This part right here. I'm going to write that down underneath my question. So I'm going to rewrite this as x equals log b y, like this. Nothing's changed, right? I just copied that formula down as it is. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to match up all the letters to whatever is actually available. Now, unfortunately, in this case, it's writing it like this. So b is equal to x, y is equal to 8, and x equals to 3. Okay, and I know I've chosen x here, it's just, that's how it's going to pop up as. So basically it's telling me that, because then we write this equation, which is, I'm going to copy down whatever's colored in y equals to bx, and I'm going to write that here. Y is equal to bx. And from here, I can see that, choose a different color, y is equal to 8, b equals to x, and then that x equals to 3. Is that too confusing? Because then we can rewrite this as, so you can kind of see that y is 8, b is the base, which is x, and then x in this case is 3. All right. Now that's just one way of doing it. Like That's one way of looking at it, but then you can actually look at it other ways as well. The other ways I always like working with is when I get a question like this, when it's log x8 equals to 3, all I put this as my base, the x, because that's at the bottom. So x to the power of 3 equals 8. So same thing, same idea. That's all. So if you look at question B here, I'm just going to write that as 2 is the base. So 2 to the power of 10 equals x. Now question B is fairly straightforward to do, because if you got 2 to the power of 10 equals x, you literally just plug it into the calculator. You go 2 to the power of 10, 1024. That's it. That's your answer for x. All right? Gets you a nice achieved right there. But in this one, when you have x cubed equals to 8, you want to figure out what x is, then you do this. You literally just go x is equal to 8, but we're going to bring 3 to the other side, which means the power now is going to change. We're going to write that as, we're going to flip it. We're going to put it as 1 over 3. That's all. And if you look at 8 to the power of 1/3, so if we go 8 to the power of 1 over 3, we end up with 2. So x is equal to 2. That's all. That's literally how fast you can actually do this. All right. So if you guys see log questions, that should be like, yep, I know exactly what I'm doing here, because the formula is given to you. All you got to do is just match the letters and just work it out from there. Can I give you guys a couple of real quick questions on this just for you guys to try it out? All right, but I'm not going to give you guys nice numbers like these ones. The numbers actually ended up really nicely. I just want to give you guys a couple of horrible numbers, but nothing. The rules are still going to be the same, but I'll do it on the side here so you can have a look. So this is a repeat of A and repeat of B. All right, so I've left it working there for you guys so you guys can have a go at it. I'd like you guys to try question A and B in the green color right there. And if you've forgotten what the formula is, this is how it looks like. If y equals bx, then log of by equals x. So that's the formula that you're working with. All right, so those two questions, I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to have a go at it. At the moment, so what we've got here is rewriting these questions. I'm going to have x to the power of 3 equals to 16. That's step 1. Step 2 is, if I want to find x by itself, then it's going to be x to the power of 16 to the power of 1/3. Which means I need to use my calculator for this because I can't do this in my head. So I got 16 to the power of 1 over 3. Make sure that 1 over 3 is in brackets. And I got 2.52. So a couple of 2 decimal places is absolutely fine. So I'm going to leave that as 2.52 right there. Is that all right? And as for the second question, I think I gave you guys a really big number, didn't I? Was it a huge number, the second question?
Yeah, the number was like 3.
Yeah, sorry. That shouldn't have been a 30. I messed it up. 30 is like way too big because you're going to get x is equal to 3 to the power of 30. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. Yeah, is that what you got?
No, I got 3, 4, 8, 6, 7, 8, 4, 4, 0, 1.
Whoa. How did you get that? Yeah, I put it as 30, so. No, I put it as 30, not 20. I think you got the number, you copied the number wrong. I put that as 30, but you put it as 20. Yeah, sorry guys, that number is going to be very long. I do apologize. I was supposed to put it as 10, but I've stuffed it up. But that's all right. This is just a big number. But for this one, just be careful. Like if you look at that e to the power of e plus 14. Yeah?
I
afterwards? All right, so then x is just equal to, in this case, if you see, anytime you see an exponent like that, all it means is that you write this as 2.05 times 10 to the power of 14. That e, you guys need to have a look at that e. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Just at the bottom there. I do apologize. You won't get a number like this. You won't get a number like this in your exam. I just stuffed it up. Question?
I got a different answer for A, but I know it's wrong.
What'd you get for A?
I got 5.33.
Did 5.33?
Yeah.
That's because you went 16 divided by 3. Because that's how I'd get 5.333. I'll come and have a look. Give me a second. Here. So the next lot of questions is going to look like this. We are going to go question C. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this question in literally one step. That's all. All right. I think they might actually change it back to achieve now, though, considering because of the mistakes. Well, because of how I made this so easy. All you got to do is this. You got the long way. I'm going to show you guys the long way of how to do this, and I'm going to show you the short way of how to do this as well. The long way is this. Writing this as 7 to the power of x equals 49. And then on the other side, you're going to have 5 to the power of x equals 20. All right. Now, the long way of doing this is you'd have to take logs on both sides. And I would strongly recommend you guys to do this, because if you do this, it's a nice and easy merit question. Plus, you also learn how to do some of the other questions as well. So all you got to do is you take logs of both sides. So you just put log 7x equals log 49. And one of your log rules tells you that you can actually bring the power to the front. So that means, and that's also given in your formula sheet. So you can rewrite this as x log 7 equals log 49. And then you want to find x by itself. So I'm going to rewrite this as x is equal to log 49 divided by log 7. And that's basically it. So if you go to your calculator, your log button is next to where? Just next underneath the x squared button. All right, it's right there, the log button. So you click on log 49 divided by log 7. And then that's it. Your answer is 2. X is equal to 2. By the way, I want to show you guys another little trick. Some people ask me, how do I put this in the calculator? Where is it? They ask me, how can I put this part in the calculator? If you ever see this and you want to solve this in the calculator, all you have to do is just put, well, you put the top number at the top with log and the bottom number with the log. So in other words, if you look at question number, oh man, I'm just losing my. So if you look at question D here, notice how it actually says log 20 and 5, right? I already know how to do this because I can just do this. I can go log 20 divided by log 5. And straight away, I know the answer is actually 1.86. Because think about it. 5 squared, like 5 times 5 is 5 squared is 25. And this number we're looking for is 20. So that means that number, the power has to be less than 2. And we're getting 1.86. So that means we're actually on the right track. Now, you can't just do this in your exam. Okay? And that's what I wanted to get at. Like, you can't just do this in the exam because this is a merit question. They would want to see some sort of that working that I've shown you on that on the left-hand side there. All right? So that means you've got to actually go and take logs of both sides. Log 5x equals log 20. And then you bring the power to the front because that's what happens with logs. So we rewrite this as x log 5 equals log 20. And then x is equal to log 20 divided by log 5, which means x is equal to 1.86. It's one of my favorite merit questions that is there because Those are like that kind of questions you do for like 5 points real fast. Okay, so I'll give you guys a couple of questions similar to it, so you guys can actually have a go at it. Is that all right there, those 2 questions?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a few more. All right, those are the 2 questions, guys. Have a go at them. Okay, so question C here. I'm going to rewrite this as 4 to the power of x is equal to 50. Take logs of both sides. I've got log 4x equals log 50. Bring the x to the front, which means I've got x log 4 equals log 50. And so x is equal to log 50 divided by log 4. So log 50, we got 2.82. Then the next one, we've got 8 to the power of x is equal to 2. All right, so then we're going to take logs again. So we got log of 8x equals log of 2. Bring the x to the front. So we got x log 8 equals log 2. And then x is equal to log 2 divided by log 8. Which means x is equal to, we got log 2 divided by log 8. Now guys, when you get a recurring decimal like this, just press the F to D button, which is above 8. Above 8, you'll see F to D button. But in some calculators, the older calculators, you'll have ABC button. If you click on the ABC button, you should get 1/3. You can actually convert it to a fraction as 1/3. And so in this answer, I would prefer it if you guys give 1/3 or write down 0.33 recurring. So something like this. Okay? Don't round it up to 0.34. That's what I'm trying to say. So cool. Those are the 2 questions there. They're both worth merits. I want to do a couple of more merit questions, and then we're going to be done, guys. So question E. Any questions on C and D? We're happy with those 2? Yep. Sweet. We shall go to the next one. This one I'm going to ask you guys to have a go by yourself. There's a little bit extra work to do, but I'm going to stop after this one unless you guys are requesting more, but this is what it's going to look like. So that's question E. You got to try and figure out what x is. And then question F. Those are the next 2 questions I'd like you guys to have a go at. And I'll tell you guys this right now. We are using logs for this, all right? So I'll even leave those other questions up at the top so you guys can have a look at it. Try it out. I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes just to mess around with this. And then in 5 minutes, I'll actually go through it. So with these types of questions, it's exactly the same as what you've done before. It just has one extra step towards the end, all right? So we're still going to write it like how we normally do with the writing it in power form. So that means this is going to look like this. 4 squared equals 3x minus 1. All right? Now 4 squared is 16. So 16 equals 3x minus 1. And then it's just rearrange it and solve. That's it. So you're going to get 3x is equal to 16 minus 1 when it comes to the left-hand side is plus 1. So what you've got is 17 equals 3x, and then x is equal to 17 divided by 3. That's it. All right? So none of the rules have changed, have they? They're still the same rules that you're using. The only extra step is that you've got a linear equation that you've got to deal with. So if we look at the second one, we're going to follow the same rules. But the only problem is we've got x in the power. And remember, if x is in the power, you got to take logs for both sides. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this as log 5, 2x minus 1 equals log 30. So remember, the power comes to the front. And so we can rewrite this now as 2x minus 1 multiplied by log 5 equals log 30. Which means we can, following the same procedures, 2x minus 1 equals log 30 divided by log 5. And then what you have got there is another, just a linear equation. So I'm going to do log 30 divided by log 5. That equals 2.11. So 2x minus 1 equals 2.11. 2x equals 2.11 plus 1. So 2x is equal to 3.11, and then x is equal to 3.11 divided by 2. Now in my calculator, I'm not actually getting rid of this answer because I'm just going to do the plus 1 first, which is 3.11, and then divided by 2, which gives me 1.56 as my final answer. Do you guys want another couple of questions like this, or like this ones? Like E or F? Or both? F? Okay. I'll leave the working here for you guys so you guys can have a look at it. So if you're trying to do, we'll do G. Okay, last question. That one there, have a go. So nothing's really changed in this apart from taking logs for both of these functions. So we got log 3, 3x plus 1 equals log of 10. Bring the power to the front. And what you have is 3x plus 1 log of 3 equals log of 10. And then 3x plus 1 equals log of 10 divided by log of 3. And whatever that is, log of 10 divided by log of 3, that's 2.096. I think I'll take 3 decimal places. Yeah, let's go, but I'll just go 2.1 for now. Actually, no, I'm going to go 2.096. And then 3x is equal to 2.096 minus 1. And then x is equal to 2.096 minus 1 divided by 3. So all of this can be done in one shot. So our x should be 0.365. Okay? Or if you were putting 0.37, it's not bad at all. So that's basically what it is. So guys, what I'm going to do is questions.
What happens if we go 2.1 rather than 2.0?
I think it's all right. Yeah, as long as the working is there, it's fine. What I'm going to do is in my next session, I'll do the algebra quadratic equations and fractions, and I'll record that as a video as well. So can you guys, obviously you won't be able to see it because you're not in my class, but just keep an eye out on the YouTube channel and I'll upload it later this afternoon. So that's the second part of the achieved merit questions. Is that all right? Cool. That's it for this session, guys. And I know you got about 10 minutes left, so it's your time.